Okay, what's up, guys? Wraith Realm TV. So, real quickly, I'm going to be reacting to this person's channel, Fern the Heel. Her channel's kind of sus, to be honest with you, and we're going to go into it. We're going to take a deep dive. But she had a lot to say about my integrity, my channel, my co host, a lot of different things. And it was kind of disgusting. It was kind of gross. I quote tweeted this person here. I said something funny or snarky, and it got turned into something completely else that I didn't ask for. And in the last 48 hours, she's been getting dunked on, clapped on, the whole nine. She kind of deserves it. When your channel is slop, no offense, slop, and it looks like you're, flooding your views or, it's kind of sus, things like that. It's like kind of sus what your views are at and things are at. It just doesn't make sense. It looks very sus. And then when you go over to her TikTok, when you go over to her Patreon, when you go over here, it's just a little sus. I question things, like you only have certain amount of videos and you're already like at this amount of subs. Like it just makes no sense. And then a lot of it's shorts and it just looks like she's hiding content. It looks like she's not being truly transparent. So we're going to be reacting to this video here. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to go into depth. We're going to go real hard into this video because it seems like this is the one everybody's been pointing out and calling her like a fake reviewer, a fake this and a fake that. I'm not going to go that far, okay? I'm not going to go that far, okay? But I am going to say her channel's a little sus and things like that. So let's just go into it.
Any blood. A year ago, I attended the Monday Night Raw premiere on Netflix, the beginning of a new era, according to Triple H. I remember
well, Triple H has said this multiple times. Like, do you take him serious?
Sitting there excited, not knowing that from that moment on, my somewhat recent rediscovered enjoyment of WWE would quickly start dying again. That exactly a year later,
obviously she's using like Clipchamp or probably Final Cut or iMovie or something like that.
I wouldn't even be watching the
because it reminds me a lot of videos I used to make in 2009.
Product at all because it felt like a chore and even torture at times. This is why I stopped watching WWE. Hey guys, this is Fran, and I just started this.
So her name is Fran. Okay.
Wrestling
I call her
to
Fern.
share
So
some of my
Fran,
hot takes, opinions,
my bad.
and possibly some show reviews. So feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the video.
She's like doing the low-hanging fruit editing. It's hilarious.
And if you don't enjoy it, subscribe anyways.
She's like, if you don't like my bottom of the barrel, bottom of the fruit editing style, just subscribe to me anyway.
Okay, let's get started. Number 1.
Like, such a troll.
Too corporate and greedy. Triple H told me this was the start of
Triple H was actually in your bedroom, in your room. He actually stood there and told you
a new era, and he wasn't lying. It was indeed a
It wasn't a new era. It was basically TKO bought WWE, or Endeavor bought WWE, and Triple H is just literally a puppet. He's just a pawn at this point. He re-signed just to be a face that runs the place.
New era of stupid expensive ticket prices and excessive ad.
I agree with her with stupid pricing and whatnot, but you should have expected this because Endeavor bought WWE. Once they bought it from WWE after the Vince McMahon scandals and whatnot, take a look at what happened with UFC. Like, UFC's been expensive for years, and they've been nickeling and diming the consumer for quite some time over on the UFC side and the MMA side. And take a look at what TKO did over there, or Endeavor back in the day. They bought out all these different organizations. Now they have a boxing league. It's insane how much nickeling and diming this company is doing. And it's not just WWE. It's not just TKO. It's not just UFC. It's the gaming industry. It's the movie industry. It's the music industry. The music industry is having a hard time trying to sell tickets. Everybody's canceling their tours because people can't afford it. People are asking to drop the prices on things, and it's like it's becoming a joke. It's becoming comical.
Placements.
And it's not even that. It's the electronic industry too. Take a look at graphics cards. Take a look at different things.
Call it the ruthless depression.
I don't know where she's getting this from because this is the first time I've heard this.
And excessive ad placements. Some call it the ruthless depression.
I don't call it the ruthless depression era or the whatever she's
the attitude era. You had The Rock bragging
the attitude era. Who is calling it this stuff? I want to know if this is like new gen thing or something like that? Because I've never heard these words.
making history
Where is she getting her information from? And what social media is she on?
on the Netflix debut show being the largest arena gate in WWE history. Basically saying, we sold tickets at a stupid expensive price and y'all paid for it. And everyone clapped and cheered, including me, because I didn't know what that meant, so I just clapped like a bot because everyone
So you just go to these events and you just follow the leader. All right.
else did. For this show, I had nosebleed tickets, and each ticket was still like $200.
So okay, so she's complaining about being in the nosebleed section in the Intuitive Dome, and she's complaining about high ticket prices. Okay.
$50 plus fees, of course. And honestly, looking back
Wow, she paid like $200 or $300 plus fees. I and then
at it, I deeply regret paying so much for it.
she complains about ticket prices, but she goes and pays it anyway, and then follows the leader. Okay.
I recently compared different WWE tickets from the last few years, including some shows I attended, and the prices almost double. Raising ticket prices like this
is happening everywhere, honey. Welcome to it. The NFL's doing this, MLB's doing this, the gaming industry, movie industry, music industry, just to buy a record or an album, right? I went out and got Bruno Mars's new album because I like, having vinyl and whatnot. It was stupid expensive. Things have gone up twice the price, and it's not just gas prices, food price, everything. It's not just WWE. It's everywhere.
So especially
And it's market manipulation. It's very market manipulation. These companies know they got us by the balls, and they know we're going to pay that, so they want more out of you. It's market manipulation, and what's going to happen eventually is the market's going to crash eventually because everybody's borrowing. Everybody's borrowing to keep up with the rat race, and when that happens, eventually we all know in history what happens with that: a recession, to Great Depression, things like that. It's just the nature of the beast.
now that it feels like a lot of us are struggling with almost
Well, a lot of us are struggling because of what's going on in the world. Healthcare is becoming unattainable. We're paying for major credit card debts and things like that. It's just the way the world is.
everything getting more and more expensive. It just feels like they're pricing out regular fans, not just from
It's not just WWE that's doing that. That's Sony just did that. They're pricing out their gamers. They're saying it's okay for consoles to be $900. Nintendo just went up $50. Microsoft's the only one that's listening to people and dropping their prices by the day, rechanging the narrative. Now, the honestly, wait and see on all that and see where Microsoft goes from a year from now, but they're trying to win the consumer back slowly.
special events like WrestleMania, but even from the weekly shows. You know what's the worst part? Paying so much.
You know what's funny is McDonald's is trying to lower their prices, and they're not even getting anybody in their restaurants still. Like, they're losing hand over fist.
Just for mediocre booking and mediocre wrestling.
Not everything with WWE is mediocre, though. I would say about 75% of it is mediocre.
That's the sad part. And honestly, this is why I appreciate AEW when it comes to
Not everything AEW does either is a winner and a home run. Not everything. Not everything. For a while, there were John Moxley's run with the Death Riders. It was pretty bad.
ticket prices. I have been
Some of the stuff with MJF recently wasn't good.
to multiple shows.
And also, well, let's talk about it. MJF, you watch this, don't make fun of me for what I'm about to say, but you can't put over talent very well either. I've said that on stream. Like, you don't look good putting talent over. When Darby Allin did those constant coffin drops, you weren't really selling them very well.
And even paper.
There's some things with AEW that I go, they need to like kind of refine and kind of retool. Not everything with AEW is great.
Views and their ticket prices were super
I prefer AEW over WWE right now, though. I actually prefer Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling and Major League Pro Wrestling. I even prefer CMLL, the partner company behind AEW.
accessible for everyone, and I got to sit so close to the ring. Regarding the ads, do I even need to say anything?
Yeah, AEW is the cheaper tickets right now. That's what they did. They're going into smaller arenas and smaller intimate venues. They said they were going to lower the prices. They said this a year and a half ago when they realized they couldn't sell out arenas when they weren't getting people in. Originally, AEW wasn't doing too well until like mid last year, and then they turned around and they started lowering their prices and doing what I said they should have been doing from the get-go. looking at smaller arenas and amphitheaters and things like that, and look at what they're doing now. Now they're taking my other thing that I have said on my very show with Smooth Panna. I have basically stated, like, look, they need to go and do these catchy arenas, minor league baseball parks. They need to go into these old like places and run shows and do what's different. Do what WCW used to do back in the day, which was awesome. WCW used to be on a beach. That's what AEW is going to be doing with Beach Breaking coming soon.
Anything. They look terrible on the mat, and
then they also signed a deal with the Twins to have their show after the fact. So it's going to be cool.
they are super distracting, especially whenever a brand sponsors.
AEW was also doing ads too in their ring and whatnot too for a while there. You can't say just WWE was doing it. AEW was doing it for a while there for special events and things like that. It was kind of gross too.
A specific match, they love to plaster the logo everywhere on the LED barrier.
And also what she's failing to realize that WWE, these companies pay for that. A lot of these companies pay big money for it. So not sorry for my comments.
Do you guys remember this WrestleMania match? Just cringe. This one over here was just sad, not gonna lie. Shout out to the $10 Spirit Halloween costumes, I guess. One of the worst things for
By the way, that was Clash of Castles, and Clash of Castles actually came out and said they paid for that spot.
me has to be the Slim Jim tables.
Companies have to make money, honey. That's just how this goes. The NFL does it. The UFL does it. The CFL does it. There's leagues. Look at the NBA. They're plastering different things on jerseys now. Look at the MLB. Look at a few out of these places. Look at the soccer leagues. If you're going to complain about Slim Jims being on tables, you better be complaining about every company doing it.
Especially when you have the commentators acknowledging them
Oh, get mad at Roku for putting ads everywhere all the time.
and basically saying things like, oh, X person just went through the Slim Jim tables. Are they being serious right now? Number 2, boring matches. I know that
Not everything in WWE is boring.
for a lot of people, promos and stories are the most important thing, but I personally have always been more of an
So she likes regular wrestling over scripted content. So you don't like long-term booking. You want short-term booking, and you want. So you would have liked TNA back from 2005 to 2009. Then you would have liked Ring of Honor back years ago. Then because they were like that.
in-ring performance fan first. For some reason, I started to get bored with most of the matches. Being totally honest, a big part of it was that I started to watch more AEW here and there. It was hard not to compare the matches between both companies. I could easily find a better match on a weekly Dynamite than on a
Not everything AEW does is great. Like just because they do blood and guts and different things like that doesn't mean everything AEW does is great. There's been some times where they've taken chairs and they've actually taken shots to the head, and I've kind of gone, whoa, maybe they don't need to go that far. Some of the Darby Allin experience stuff is kind of like, whoa, little too far.
WWE pay-per-view because I refuse to call them PLEs, by the way.
She refuses to call them PLEs. Well, then call them pay-per-views then.
So I hate the fact that there's rarely any blood. Everything feels overly safe.
Okay, so the reason why WWE is PG the way they are and there's not a lot of blood, reason why is because they have sponsors like Mattel and things like that. Honey, WWE has huge sponsor money that comes from these companies. If they start showing blood here and there or major blood or they do like Darby Allin matches, they wouldn't have sponsors.
There's barely
By the way, WWE is a public traded company compared to AEW that's a private company. They're not on the stock exchange, by the way. If they were and they had a lot of companies that bought in, I hope AEW never goes that way. Hope they stay private and make their money the way they need to make their money, at the end of the day.
enough wrestling, even though the shows are like 3 hours long. Number 3, repetitive promos. Some promos literally made me become less invested in wrestlers that I really like.
Okay, AEW has some repetitive promos at times too, though. Both companies do. TNA does too. Like sometimes when Santana comes out on TNA, he has regurgitated the same shit. I'm from the block. I run this shit. And it's the same with like for instance, Jon Moxley does to a certain extent. Sometimes Swerve does. It's not just WWE.
We just repeat the same thing over and over every week. Wrestlers like Rhea Ripley.
I don't agree with
For
that one.
example, I know everyone knows CM Punk is good on the mic, but most of his promos since arriving to WWE had felt watered down, at least for me. They're all
Well, it has to be. He can't do the same things. You got to remember, it's a public traded company. They have Mattel, they have Mountain Dew, they have all these companies they have to answer to. That's why it's watered down. That's why it's PG. I know that's not what you want to hear, but that's the truth.
also wrestlers like Cody Rhodes who just say a lot of words but without any substance. Or this guy right here. But don't worry, we will talk about him later in the video. It also
Wow, the disrespect to Jey Uso. God damn.
doesn't help that a lot of the wrestlers aren't too good on the mic, especially when WWE's
Wow, somebody that actually agrees with me. She actually points out Jade Cargill. You know what, Fern? I agree with you.
supposed to be more focused on the characters and promos. They had me skipping these pointless promos constantly because it feels like
Okay, so Seth Rollins was kind of doing the Joker theme when he came back. He's trying to do the last Joker movie with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix. It wasn't that good, and Seth tries to blur those lines like the Joker, and it comes off kind of flat.
they just don't advance the plot most of the time. I don't understand why they're repeating them so often instead of replacing some of them with fun or exciting segments between the wrestlers. It just feels like they just put as many promos
Because WWE has said it. Nick Khan and Triple H said they're going more entertainment than wrestling. Well, I don't know where the hell
as
you've
possible
been
because
with
they
that
need
one.
filler segments in the unnecessarily long shows. Number 4. Bad booking. I know I said that the wrestling itself is more important to me, but don't get me wrong. I do think that a good story is
She just said that she prefers wrestling over entertainment. You can't. You got to have a little bit of both there. So yeah.
very important as well. They complement each other. But WWE likes to push people because of a catchphrase, song, or movement they do rather than because they're good in the ring or good at promos. Seems that they're obsessed with creating moments that go viral.
Again, they said they were bringing in more celebrities. Artie Emanuel already stated this. If you dive deep, she's missing out on some things. Like read the news articles, honey. Go out there and do some research. You'll find out that TKO has been all about pushing celebrities like Jelly Roll and I Show Speed. They're trying to keep the younger generation eyes glued to what the product is.
On social media.
That's why the flag football stuff, I rolled my eyes because they're doing the same thing with the flag football league. Instead of making it about sport and making it about getting ready for the Olympics, they're making it into a spectacle with all these celebrities.
So they can later brag about the views. For instance, they keep putting celebrities on shows when they're already limited.
Not everything is bad with celebrities. Like Jelly Roll can actually go. Bad Bunny can actually go. Logan Paul's one of the best heels that they got. Pat McAfee, love him, hate him. He was kind of great on the commentary to an extent. So there you go.
Like 4 or 5 matches in the pay-per-views. Sometimes they drag stories for months or even for a year. They do rematches back to back without moving the story forward in any way. For example, at first I thought the John Cena turn was exciting, but they fumbled it pretty fast.
Well, of course, we've all said that John Cena's retirement tour and AJ Styles' retirement tour was kind of bad.
The promos and the feud just
I've
felt like
even
there
said
were no
this.
plans. WrestleMania was one of the last straws for me. They had Gunther tap to Jey Uso in like 3 seconds. I don't even want to talk
Again, they had to make Jey Uso look strong. I think you're missing the point with that one. And then you're going to talk about here.
about the match between Cody and John Cena with Travis Scott interfering.
Yeah, Travis Scott, but that was because of The Rock. The Rock didn't want to do work. Rock was busy doing Rock things. He was doing the smashing machine, and he didn't want to he didn't want to do the work. That's what it came down to. It's been well documented about The Rock. The Rock wants to do stuff on his time.
The Rock completely disappeared from the story. Then a month later, Gunther was having a competitive match with Pat McAfee, okay? Another thing is that the champions or top stars would rarely wrestle or defend the titles. You know, a lot of people like
Again, if you followed that storyline, he went after Michael Cole, and so Pat McAfee stepped up and got choked out and lost that match
Roman
anyway.
Reigns,
It was
for
a storyline.
example, but I hated that when I was first getting back into WWE, he was barely on TV and they kept running back Roman versus Brock, the whole
She doesn't realize that Roman calls the shots in creative. Like, he has pull. Like, he did state that I run the show. He was on a podcast saying he runs the show. He calls the shots. Like, he gets to make his own calls. He gets to do his own things. He said, I run the roost. He said this.
Bloodline story in general. I never got into it because it just felt
Wow, she never got into the Bloodline stuff. The Bloodline stuff was great. Juicy Uzi? Oh, come on now. Come on.
overdone and dragged out. And
It wasn't overdone and dragged out.
as someone who used to watch during the Ruthless Aggression, I was just used to seeing wrestlers like
Okay, so she is a lot younger than me. Okay, so if she was watching Ruthless Aggression era WWE, then she's way younger than me. Because I started watching wrestling back in '94. And I got to see the beginnings of the NWO and the Wolf Pack. Like, she's missing out on some good wrestling. Like, honestly, the best era is the Attitude, and I said second would be Ruthless Aggression. The stuff with Eddie Guerrero and the Ruthless Aggression era can never be topped, ever. I think maybe, just maybe, MJF when he was doing the stuff with CM Punk, maybe.
Batista, The Undertaker, Rey Mysterio on a weekly basis. Granted, the roster was stacked, but my point still stands. Now we have some honorable mentions. Showing too much behind the scenes. With the Unreal Show and official WWE podcast wrestling.
So she's getting upset over the Hard Knock stuff, the podcast, the things like that. But AEW does the same shit. AEW wrestlers go on other podcasts and do the exact same thing that's happening here. They peel the veil off of things at times, okay?
Wrestlers do just don't like it. We all know wrestling is scripted, but the fact that the company
She wants to be more surprised. She wants to have more shocking moments. Okay. My co-host has said that too. I've said that to an extent, but we're in a social media era. Like, we're in that slop, short form content, brain rot content. Come on now.
itself is putting this content out and promoting it just feels weird. It's just too much for my taste. Music. WWE's choice of music for pay-per-views and weekly shows just doesn't fit right.
Okay, they did the right move by using Eminem's music. Eminem's a well-known, he's the goat of rap to a lot of people. They made the right choices. I actually really, really like. And I actually like The Weeknd here when they did this one. Like, I didn't mind that. Like, come on now. I didn't mind The Weeknd doing their music for the first, being in Las Vegas for
Wrestling, in my
WrestleMania.
opinion. Maybe because, like I mentioned earlier, I grew up
Okay, so she grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era towards the end, and then the Nexus and stuff like that. So I get where she's coming from. But if that's the case, then you should have watched Ring of Honor. Then you should have watched Impact Wrestling back then, and a lot of other things. Because there was a lot of good music. It wasn't just WWE putting out bangers. There was lots of different companies.
during the Ruthless Aggression era, or just my own personal music taste. But I feel like wrestling fits better with rock music. For
What she doesn't realize is to pay those artists. Do you know that Tony Khan has said how much he's paid out for these artists to have their music being played? Like, every time Orange Cassidy plays that Where's My Mind or Jane, that's a lot of money going to the artist per time they play it. And every minute they play it, Tony Khan's having to pay out of his wallet money. Just because he can afford it doesn't mean it's not expensive. That's why they don't. That's why they have third-party artists or people that make themes come out and do things like that. Like Death Rebels, for instance, for an example.
example, the SmackDown theme song is just so
And for a while there, they hired These Wolves to make most of the themes that are in, like, Adam Page's theme song and a few others. So These Wolves, you guys didn't know that. There was a lot of like Abel something rather was doing like them shoes and things like that during the when Cody was part of AEW. Like, I can go way back with AEW. I'm not one of those AEW fans that, just because you just started watching AEW, I'm going to crucify you. No, I just been a long-term AEW fan. I've been watching it ever since they did All Out, All In, the very first ones, and Double or Nothing when John Moxley showed up in the building. It was nuts. It was crazy.
mad to me. For the wrestlers, the music all sounds generic and similar to each other because
They have to do that for a reason. Some places have to, because to pay these artists would be detrimental.
I can't even tell who's
Cha-ching,
coming
cha-ching,
out
cha-ching.
most of the time. Saudi Arabia. I know WWE has been making deals with Saudi Arabia for years.
Not just WWE. UFC just did. UFC's going to be in the White House front yard. Live Golf. Actually the NBA has to an extent. MLB has. The NFL's talking about working with the Saudis. The tennis, the men's and women's tennis, the WTA and the GA have all have literally signed up with the Saudis. They do a once in a thing on Netflix for
years.
Saudi
But it's just
Arabia.
so corny every time they try to glaze it super hard, talking about how amazing
Well, the reason they do that, honey, just to let you know, Fern, the reason they do that because they pay so much money for that. The Saudis can call their own shots when they give WWE close to like $1 billion.
and progressive the kingdom of Saudi Arabia is. Yeah, it's so progressive that they suppress freedom of speech and delete people from Earth if you criticize the government or royal family. Not to mention they force women
Like, I can't believe that she's making this political, but they're the ones that are paying millions and billions of dollars to have these shows.
to look like Power Rangers during the shows.
They have to. That's their religion. Women have to cover up. That's why. That's their religion.
Can't show any symbols they deem offensive, among other things. I had read a few things before, but the more I researched in depth about this shitty government, the more infuriating it was. Is WWE
It's not just them, honey. It's UFC, it's the MLB, it's the NBA. All these companies are taking Saudi blood money.
or should
Look at EA. EA just went and signed a deal with the Saudi government to have them be bought out.
I say TKO that broke that they need to sell their soul for money? It was so disappointing seeing CM Punk go there after he was always so outspoken about it. He goes to the No Kings protest, but I guess that doesn't include the King of
Well, okay. You're making fun of CM Punk, but he's in a different country.
Saudi Arabia. Triple
And he's getting paid a lot of money. Money changes people, by the way. Patting your pocketbook will change you.
H can't take any criticism. When he said, fuck off being a critic, be a fan, it annoyed me so much because it reminded me of the current mindset some people have whenever someone is being critical of a bad movie or a bad show. I'm looking at you, Star Wars fans. This is why these big companies don't put any effort in making a decent product, because they know there will always be people who will just consume the product like an NPC, regardless of if it's
Well, obviously, at the very beginning, you're a hypocrite then. Because you just basically said at the beginning, let's go back to your beginning of your video, right? Should I go back? You were literally an NPC. You literally were, anything WWE does is great. So to criticize people that do it, it's hypocritical.
bad.
And by the way, WWE can do this kind of stuff because they are making hand over fist. The NFL does this. The NFL, EA, like, look at the Madden games. They don't give a shit about what people think. Look at 2K. They don't give a shit about what you think.
McAfee. I cringed at his sounds, dances, and jokes every
Pat McAfee is not that bad. Each to their own.
single time. But most important,
There is a reason why Pat McAfee has garnered what he's got. His show, everything. Like, I have bad respect for him because he took something out of nothing and made it into something, like Dave Portnoy. Like, this person doesn't realize the reason why they brought Pat McAfee in, because they needed a shock jock kind of a voice and kind of a guy that is explosive on the mic. And it obviously shows when newer generations of people are tuning in. Like, younger people love Pat McAfee. Same with Dave Portnoy.
importantly, at his commentary, if you can even call it that. Whenever he opened his mouth, he literally ruined the match for me in real time, and I couldn't concentrate
I'm sorry, but she's acting a little bit Karen-ish with this.
because I felt like I was losing brain cells by the minute. And I feel like he just kept getting worse as time went.
Bro, if you're going to go there, then you need to look at AEW, freaking Excalibur. It's like, oh, God. And then the regurgitating of Taz and what's his name? They should just go hire Mario Ronaldo at this point.
By. And finally,
Thank God they have thank God they got a Nigel McGuinness there. Thank God. All it's holy. Thank God they got him. And thank God sometimes they got Danielson, because like sometimes I just go like Excalibur, I'm just like, can you just stop talking?
my fifth
And Tony Schiavone sometimes too. Like I just like, oh.
reason, or more like my 13th
And if we're gonna go WWE, I'm just like, can we just get Corey Graves and just Michael Cole all the time? Because those are the only two that I really like, because Joe Tessitore and the other dude, like I'm just like, ugh.
reason, if you know what I mean.
I like Wade Barrett,
Number
though.
5, Jey Uso and his entrance. WWE loves to find something
They have overplayed Jey Uso, but I'll be honest with this, they've overplayed Jey Uso to an extent. They've legitimately have overplayed him. I like Yeet. I love Yeet, but it's kind of just worn its luster out. It's kind of like Joe Henry. It's kind of like Danhausen in a lot of ways. They're just overplaying the stuff.
that gets a reaction, then beat it to the ground until it means nothing, like Jey Uso's cheating. The first time I saw it, I thought it was super dumb, but the more it kept happening,
Oh man, then we're like her. She didn't like that. Man, we were yeeting. We were doing everything in our streams, man. Like I even have an emote yeet. I even have my thing set to yeet. Like come on now.
even during matches or when he was
I was doing the whole yeet, and I was doing glorious. I was doing glorious, man. She's not even talking about the stuff like the good stuff about WWE. She's like complaining about dumb
running
stuff.
it back. It was just taking it too far, and I got tired of it instantly. I never felt like Jay was a character I could
She sounds like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Everything sucks. This is boring. I hate everything.
take seriously, and I couldn't believe when he won the Royal Rumble, then went on to beat Gunther in the way I mentioned earlier, and ultimately becoming the world champion. I witnessed the Jeet entrance in person during the Netflix debut show, and as I sat in my seat, I was so triggered, and it felt like torture
She was triggered. Karen moment.
hearing and seeing thousands of people yeeting with him. This is a visual representation of how I felt.
Bro, I'm having fun. Like when you're going to these events, you got to make something out of fun. When the eating and the yeah, LA Knight comes out, like not everything's for everybody.
Release me! Release me!
Okay, so she's being upset over this, whatever.
Me off from watching, among the other reasons already went up.
So she got triggered over Jey Uso. She got triggered over Gunther or Jay winning. Like, so her whole thing is against Jey Uso. Why she stopped
By
watching.
the end of the year, Survivor Series was in my city and you couldn't pay me to attend the show. Okay, maybe if you offer
Okay, so she says everything is hard, but she has all this money to just throw around and spend. Like she has all this money to spend. You notice this? Like I went to this show, I went to that show, I went to this show, but I hate WWE.
me at least $500 plus for
Here's what I gotta say about this.
I mean, what? What? And you got to be kidding me. I mean, sit down.
And I also gotta say this too.
Say, do it again, please.
Stay off the weed. Stay off the weed. And you can't stay off the weed. He ain't getting busted for using weed.
And she's also using Ryback cringe.
good, then maybe I would have gone. That's how much WWE fatigue I had. I don't know if I'm ever gonna watch WWE again.
I am never gonna watch I love these channels that say I'm never gonna watch WWE. They ruined my life. They took everything from me. But you were spending hundreds and thousands of dollars, probably your credit card, to go to these shows. Like you're hypocritical.
Regularly, I just watch reviews and clips from time to time where
That's what most of us do anyway. Most of us don't really like if we have it on the DVR, the cloud DVR, we're just skimming it. Or if you're on Netflix, we just use a VPN and go back and watch on Netflix and we skim through the shit that we like and we don't. Like, where the hell have you been? You finally waking up to the realization that's what most of us do?
I just end up confirming my opinion. Just not good. But oh well. Well, that was it for today's video, guys, and I hope you enjoy it. And remember, this is just my
Oh my God, she sounds so monotone. So let's go over to the next one here. Let's take a look a little bit at AEW. So let's see. She's got a vlog. Okay, so I can't. Okay, so she's somewhere in like LA and things like that. Okay, so she went to the LA thing. Okay, so let's see this real quick. So let's hear her one over.
In case you've been living under a rock,
AW.
he is on fire right now.
And honestly, that's exactly what I've been doing. Validated like that. On the other hand, I got multiple comments suggesting watching AW in
Okay, so literally she's all about like clickbaiting and monotone and hypocritical shit. I've kind of gotten this understanding about her now that she's very hypocritical because I don't know, like if she's reading from a script or she's talking like a bot or it's just AI. But some of the stuff I have seen from her, like in general, is literally not gonna front, not gonna lie, is literally monotone. Like she has specific things she doesn't like. Like Jey Uso's like a big trigger moment for her, and then she's acting like a Karen on part of her last videos. So let's see here.
And honestly, that's exactly what I've been doing. So today, I want to talk about how I went from a cash. Let's get started. High quality wrestling matches is what I boring matches. It just wasn't fulfilling.
Okay, so she's just gonna talk about boring this, boring that. Okay, I get the point. Anyway, this is my simple watch of her stuff. Like she's hypocritical. She's all over the place, man. Like I'm sorry, but I get why she's getting roasted, and I get why people are saying what they're saying.
My wrestling needs anymore.
I'll keep watching
But
a little bit of this.
AEW changed that. The matches talent being featured, even if they don't match your stereotypical wrestlers look from
Do you notice how high pitched she is right now and how this, that, and the third is? It's
the
so
90s.
hypocritical.
Another big highlight for me is the different types of matches they feature throughout the year. For example, I love the violent multi-men or women.
Of course, because it appeals to her. She likes blood. She likes guts. She likes the things, right? She likes the Darby Allin match. Why weren't you not watching AEW from the get-go? Why were you paying so much money for WWE? You're so willing to shit on WWE, but you were that mindless drone that was paying for it. You were the one that was complaining about Jey Uso, but you sat there and watched it. You know there was other products out there. You could have been watching MLW. You could have been watching MLPW. You could have been watching CMLL. You could have been watching New Japan. You could have been doing what most of us people were doing. Like most of us watch multiple different products because they're all different. You could have watched NWA. You could have watched a lot of different products. You could have watched Gigolo Pro Wrestling. You could have watched Timeless Wrestling. You could have watched a lot of other products. WSW. You know, like, I just don't get this person, but okay.
And matches such as Blood and Guts, which is similar to WWE's War Games, and Honor
It's not even close similar. Yes, they have the 2 cages, but that's about it.
in the Arena, or Stadium Stampede, which is another multi-man no DQ match where they fight all over the venue. They also feature tournaments like the
Of course. Not everything they do is the same as WWE. You're waking up
matches.
to
It's
this?
hard to make a list at the moment because there's so many to list. I've been to. They listen to the fans.
Yes and no. AEW, yes and no. They kind of listen to the fans, they kind of don't. Tony Khan does sometimes regurgitated booking. Sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. You can't say WWE doesn't and AEW does because, again, I've been watching AEW for a long time. There were periods where AEW just flatlined and did really, really bad hokey pokey stuff.
Feeling like my opinion as a fan mattered, even if it was a little bit, was a breath of fresh air.
She's acting like she's Queen Bee right
I
now.
think AEW's biggest PR move has been done for free by WWE, going against what a lot of vocal fans want. And Tony Khan has been smart enough to do the opposite, or at least try. He said that the fans are a huge major influence for
Yes, but you weren't. I love this person. I know she's experiencing AEW probably for the first time, and I just love people that are younger than me because what they do is they give these responses and it's like wild. Tony Khan for a while there was flatlining. Yes, he just got back to being Booker of the Year. It took him a while because AEW wasn't that great for a while there.
for him personally and on AEW, and that he really believes in listening to
She's not going to talk about Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker throwing a stinker a couple years ago.
them. I've seen people getting rewarded and pushed because the fans resonate with them, as well as stories
Not all the time, honey.
completely scrapped because the fans weren't getting behind them. And I'm convinced either Tony Khan or someone directly working for him spends a good amount of time on Twitter listening to criticism.
No, Tony Khan's gotten in trouble many times for either having a burner account or just him in general. Not making fun of Tony Khan, but he's been accused of multiple times having multiple burner accounts, going around and acting like he's a fan.
and fan complaints.
Nah, I
This
can't.
one time during
I can't. That's according to reports. I can't. Say definitively.
a Mina Shirakawa match, she came
It's kind of like Kevin Durant. You know what I mean?
out to a new theme song, and the fans were complaining that they wanted her old theme song back. And lo and behold,
A lot of the New Japan fans did. So Tony Khan listened and changed it. So I'll give her that one.
after she won the match, when the music played, her theme song was back to the original one. And they haven't changed it back ever since. It's the little things like that that go a long way. Which reminds me of someone else who could learn a lesson or two about this. Number
Unfortunately, no, WWE can't, because unfortunately, as I said in your last video part, was that WWE has sponsors to answer to, and they don't want to throw out money. Remember, TKO is all about being cheap. Take a look what they did with UFC when they were Endeavor.
3. Affordable prices and you get your money's worth.
Tony Khan has also made things, but they went to smaller arenas. They went to smaller venues. That's why. They weren't filling out the bigger arenas like WWE. That's actually a fact. They actually weren't. So when they dumbed it down, they went to smaller arenas, smaller places, and made it more intimate for people, like amphitheaters, things that I was saying before. Quite literally.
Tony Khan said that he wanted to keep prices affordable to make sure that families and friends could go to the shows. Until this day, he's sticking to his word. You can
Well, yes and no. Tony Khan is finally starting to go to bigger arenas now. He's starting to do different bigger venues. He's starting to branch out because AEW is getting more popular again. It's picking up. AEW was down for a while there. Any AEW fan girl, or even somebody that knows wrestling in general could told you AEW wasn't doing well. Their ratings were down badly. They were really putting out stinkers. For a minute there, I was kind of criticizing Tony Khan, going like, what the hell are we doing? Like some of the matches when they were doing with Powerhouse Hobbs and when they brought Wardlow back, and some of the stuff they were doing is kind of just like, what are we doing?
usually find tickets for AEW shows for around $30 depending on the venue, and for pay-per-views you can find seats as cheap as $40 as well. And talking about pay-per-views, they're hands
Yeah, but again, here's the thing. AEW is not trying to, it's like how can I say this in a good way? MLPW and MLW, they're all trying not to compete with WWE ticket pricing. They want to be the alternatives. That's why when you go to these other shows like TNA and things like that, the ticket prices are different. Like when you go to a CMLL show, it's kind of cheaper.
down. One of my favorite things about AEW, you really get your money's worth with 4 to 5 hours.
This is the one thing with Tony Khan I don't like, right? The long ass pay-per-views. You go from a pre-show matches to this one, to this one, to this one. It's like finally you're 6 hours in, you're just like, oh, fuck. Oh, my God, my life.
Of great
It gets
wrestling.
exhausting.
I know that it may sound like a lot, but I personally love it, and I've never felt
So she likes the 6 hour, 8 hour pay-per-views. Ugh.
like it's too much even with the pre-shows.
Yikes.
There's no ads in between the matches, by the way. And if you want to save some money, you can if you have a VPN to get a better deal. This year I
Okay, she's talking about My AEW. My AEW, if you have a VPN, you can tunnel into a different country and get the whole pay-per-view package for cheap. A lot of Americans are doing that because they don't want to. And AEW is very, very, very the same as WWE, where their stuff's on so many different places and you don't know where to get it from either. And now supposedly they're going to get a new deal with Paramount and Warner Discovery now. So it's kind of just like, where are they going to be next? Are they going to be on the, and they're getting rid of the HBO Max app, supposedly what this deal go through.
went to Revolution and my ticket was less than $100, and I had a really good view in the lower level of the arena. Same with other shows I've been to. I paid $40 for what felt like blur tickets and got to boo Wheeler Yuta from super close distance.
Oh my God.
Even if you just buy
You know what also hurts her? She should mute these copyrighted music
the
things.
cheapest ticket, you will have a lot of fun with it and it will be worth it. Trust me. Number 4. Less scripted, less corporate, more raw. I love that it feels less scripted.
Well, Tony Khan allows his wrestlers to speak their mind how they want to speak it, right? But they do, that is scripted, and yes, they do tell long-term booking better than a WWE.
And because of that, it actually feels unpredictable. Like, so many great wrestlers in AEW right now that are involved in the upper card storylines that I truly have no idea where things are going, and that has me super excited. Something important to
Okay, so something important to know: there's the AEW has a bloated roster. They have too much up in the main card, and they keep pushing this one, that one. Like once a month, they're pushing somebody. I wish they would do long-term stuff more often than actually. Like I love what they did with Tony Storm. I love what they did with John Moxley for a while there, and then the Death Rider stuff kind of just ruined it there. But
me is that it feels less corporate overall, and I like how wrestlers can be
yeah, it's less corporate because they're not a public traded company.
more creative by having more control over their characters, both in ring and in promos. You have wrestlers like John Moxley, Adam Copeland, Christian, Swerve Strickland, and Tony Storm just
All old WWE talents that are allowed to shine and do what they need to do. And in fact, Swerve was originally Killshot in Lucha Underground. John Moxley was Dean Ambrose. It was good at first. And these are WWE. They've brought in a lot of WWE talent that have done a really good job in AEW.
to name a few.
Chris Jericho, for instance. Chris Jericho's done an amazing job with what he's had in AEW.
Are good examples of wrestlers who, in their own words, felt less limited once they came to AEW. You can feel how much the wrestlers care, and they're just not there to collect a paycheck. They actually love pro wrestling.
Not completely true, because they did bring in Aleister Black, and you're finding out that that man literally was there just to collect a check. You're finding out that some talent was just there to collect a check that didn't really want to put over, aka Dr. Britt Baker for a minute there was just collecting a check and putting up stinker matches. Let's keep it for real.
And you can sense it by the work they put up in the ring.
Not all wrestling and wrestlers in AEW are great, so let's keep that in mind. We got to keep this a buck. We got to keep everything raw and uncut and unbiased. Not everything with AEW is perfect.
And how they talk about AEW in interviews. It's been really nice seeing some wrestlers elevate their careers after they were given the opportunity.
Tommaso Ciampa's only been in AEW for a short period, and he's only had one title belt. He hasn't had a reclaim of that title yet. They really haven't done much with him outside of new music, give him a new presentation, but he's only had the title once, and it wasn't very long. So I'm kind of a little disappointed right now with Tommaso Ciampa, just to be honest.
Opportunity to shine with some creative freedom just to show what they're capable of. A great example of this is Tommaso Ciampa. I realize the current WWE
Tommaso Ciampa hasn't been there very long. You can't say that. So again, that's an L on you. Tekla, literally no joke. I literally love her to pieces. She is literally the Rhea Ripley of AEW. She can hold on to that belt how long she wants. She's an amazing talent. She was great in Stardom, New Japan. She's an amazing talent. Shimmer, oh my God. Chef's Kiss. A lot of the stuff that she does, man, she could just literally no joke. Like I literally love her promo work. Literally love what she does. Just keep the belt on her. Her and Tony Storm 1-2 to me right now.
The era was too sanitized, polished, and overproduced for my taste, so it was a breath of fresh air seeing a more realistic, less PG promos, which helps some.
Well, AEW said they were going to be more about wrestling and more for the hardcore fan. Tony Khan said he likes ECW. So if you follow Tony Khan, he likes ECW and he likes WCW and what made those products great. So it's kind of a throwback to the early 90s stuff, what we now to come to know.
Some wrestlers feel more relatable in characters and storylines in AEW. The unpredictable storylines. I think because of all the points I've mentioned, feel more relatable. Number 5. I got invested in the characters and storylines. I think because of all the points I've mentioned so far, I find myself really caring about the characters and storylines.
Sorry, I know this video is a little longer than I usually do, but I wanted to put this up because, you know, she criticized me hardcore, and I'm going to sit and deep dive into her content and do it as video content. So I'm not sorry for this long video.
Storylines in AEW. The unpredictability, the quality of wrestling, and stories that have good long-term booking won me over. I realized I didn't
Not everything with AEW has really good booking. I will say some of the stuff like MJF and uh Kenny Omega or Kenny Omega and Swerve, okay. Will Ospreay and some of the stuff with the Death Riders right now, like that story's still continuing, which I think is going to lead into Will Ospreay winning the Continental Championship.
I don't really connect with a lot of the wrestlers in WWE where their storylines would end up.
I connected with Roman Reigns. I connected with a lot of things. But here's the thing, though. Some of the stuff in AEW kind of just goes too far sometimes.
But a rivalry like Hangman versus Swerve with the incredible matches and character development that progressed over a year and a half, which culminated in Swerve helping Hangman
Right now, the stuff that's going on with Swerve and Bandito is just right now pretty good. It's putting Ring of Honor on the map currently.
win the world title at All In was
Like, she doesn't talk about Ring of Honor at all. Like, if you're going to talk AEW, you might as well talk about Ring of Honor.
the story that I was
Like, she's not even talking about Athena at all.
extremely invested in. Another example is Tony Storm and Mariah May's feud that led into the epic Hollywood ending, which I was super lucky to witness in person. I've been so invested in some stories like I haven't been before. Like currently, I'm really
So she's more invested. So why weren't you not watching AEW back in 2019? Or the stuff that led into AEW, or the fact Chris Jericho as the Painmaker, or Chris Jericho the Inner Circle, or the Pinnacle, or some of the things out there. Like, I just don't get it. Like, so you were that mindless and clueless to what was around you as far as wrestling products go? I find that far-fetched.
interested in the story between Will Ospreay and the Death Riders, and it's been fun seeing how it develops week by week, and I'm really looking forward to see how this will affect the road going into All In and the rest of the year. And I'm not the only one who gets deeply invested in the stories and matches. AEW live shows feel super energetic, engaging, and fun thanks to the crowd. It's always funny whenever I open social media to see people trying to diss AEW by bringing up attendance,
Wait. Hold the phone. Time out. Red flag. Time out. I criticize AEW as much as I criticize WWE. The reason why is because if you're gonna shit on one company, you might shit on the other, and you might as be raw and uncut when you're doing it. Because honestly, AEW has thrown some stinkers. Not everything with AEW I like. And yes, their attendance numbers, yeah, people were talking about them because they were throwing up stinkers. They were black tarping off things. Come on, there was pictures of this. And their views weren't that good until recently. They weren't doing well. They were failing for a minute there. And yes, they were lucky. They were bleeding in the red for a while there. And now they finally got back in the black. And they're finally being successful as a company. Like, stop this. I've been watching AEW for a long time. And this person, like, all of a sudden, oh, because I turn on social media, people are toxic. It's like, no, people were just being realistic.
ratings, and
Now, did those people take it way too far? Absolutely. I can't stand tribalistic shit.
so on. But for me, what really matters is the product, and it delivered what WWE was missing. And while I know it's okay to
To her opinion.
watch both promotions, which I
Again, she never says her opinion or in my opinion.
did for years, I just didn't enjoy WWE enough
Okay, if you didn't enjoy WWE, then why did you pay for these shows that were expensive? Why did you pay for the streaming services and all this different stuff? Like, it's very sus to me how all of a sudden your channel just becomes something, and then all of a sudden it's kind of sus to me, honey.
anymore to
And I have welcomed her to come to my channel and have a conversation with me and have a deep dive with me. But at the end of the day, I've heard crickets.
dedicate my time watching their shows or spend my hard-earned money on it anymore. Like I've said before, I'm a
She's so mad because of the high ticket prices, Jey Uso being pushed, and Roman Reigns. That's what it
believer
is.
of investing in a quality product that makes you happy rather than companies that just want a quick cash grab without putting any effort into their
That's most companies in 2026.
product. And before I get called a shill or a grifter like some people did on my last video, I want to acknowledge AW is not perfect by any means, and just like every other promotion,
Literally in this video, she was literally going all over AEW, kissing their ass. But all of a sudden now it's, oh, I'm not a drifter. Oh, I'm not this. Oh, I'm not that. But you just made a video shitting all over WWE. You can't have your cake and eat it all at once, honey.
it has its issues, which I will talk about on a separate video. But AW made wrestling fun for
You won't make that video, honey, because you're getting slammed all over the internet. There's a reason why for it, and I just seen why. Because you say it's one thing, and then you say it's another, then you say it's another, and then you say it's another, and then all of a sudden, like if we click on your channel, why is it right here? Why is it that you only have X amount of videos, and then all of a sudden your views are sky high, and all of a sudden, like, it's a little sus. It's a little sus. If you're going to call me out and say that I'm a WWE fanboy and I need to put the fries in the bag and be a good boy, then you really need to go check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because honestly, watching your videos and understanding what you're about, it's like you paid for WWE, yes, and then you turned around and you want to slam WWE for what? You did that to yourself. You were a mindless drone. You went out and paid for that. You shelled out for that. And now all of a sudden, because you had a bad taste in your mouth, you want to come over here and say how great Mayberry everything is, but you don't talk about the good and the bad and the ugly. You want to slam one company so freaking hard, you got to keep it raw and uncut. I keep it raw and uncut with everything. Like, right, WWE has its faults. AEW has its faults. TNA has its faults. AAA has its faults. MLW, Marigold, all these places do. That's the glorious part. This is what I love talking about wrestling for, because there's always a good and a bad and the ugly in anything. But I just love how this person sits here and wants to shit all over me, and then like you go to watch her videos and it's just like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing as a person? And I would love to sit and have her on a show to where I can pick her brain and understand, like, why are you this way? Because it comes off monotone. It comes off like you're just trying to get views. You're view seeking, and it's a little sus to me as a person. I'm just speaking from my own, like, from what I saw in her video. Like, let's go to watch her other video, right?
Another choice to begin with, but here are my thoughts about it and overall corporate full list of the names. To be completely transparent, I was barely watching anymore when most of these were active on the main
Again, like, she's talking about most of these people. Look, it's funny.
roster, except from clips that popped on my timeline from time to time or show reviews.
She just said, let's go back. Let's go back to her other video, right? This was 3 weeks ago, right?
A year ago, I had
If you stop watching the product, okay, and you're all about this AEW train, why are you even talking about WWE? I don't get it. Why are you talking about WWE? You just said you were done with them. You don't want anything to do with them. You can't stand them. You can't stand Jey Uso, Roman Reigns. But all of a sudden now you are literally no joke. My point is proven, ladies and gentlemen, right here. I've spent about an hour on this. I'm literally, like I said, I spent an hour on this. I'm not coming back to this topic with her. I have literally deep dived into you now at this point. I have roasted you now at this point. And I've also talked about your content. So the next time, watch what you say about people's content before you speak. Get to know said people. And like I said before, I've roasted you. This is it for me. I've said what I need to say. Like I said, I've welcomed you to my channel. I have no squirms with you. I have no issues with you. But when you take shots at me and my channel and my own integrity, yeah, I'm going to clap back. Yeah, I'm going to say what I need to say. And I did. But you shouldn't be talking about WWE. You literally buried your own arguments. Every time you talk, you bury your own argument. Like, get the shovel out.
a lot of you active on the main roster.
Let me see
Those
here.
ads would be enough, but nope. It's like they must.
So
say
she goes in from WWE releases to corporate greed. It's like she's so upset about corporate greed. Oh my God, she should be upset about everything in the world, man. She should be upset at TKO running their own boxing league then. She should be upset at UFC bringing back Conor McGregor. She should be upset at TKO making these move after move after move that are anti-consumer then. Like, she needs to do her research, man. I'm out. My name is Wraith Realm TV. I will see you on the next one. Look, this was a fun little video to do. If you like these kind of videos, let me know. Send me some content. I will definitely sit within reason. If it's wrestling, sports, things like that, I will definitely sit down here on my computer and definitely watch it if I can, if I have the time. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.